Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room there on Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas, right there on our military installation, because he was a whistleblower, and this was an internal operation, a rogue operation, an unauthorized operation by a Mormon Mafia, and it's big. It's not just a little Mormon Mafia. It's a Mormon Mafia that is in alliance with an El Paso cartel, that's in alliance with the Sinaloa cartel and the CJNG cartel, both of those designated as transnational terroristic organizations, because of their reach and their violence. So let's get started, because Richard, when he was taken down to the basement room, his life was taken from him, and he was trafficked across the border to Mexico, where they disposed of his remains, because this Mormon Mafia was also in alliance with a funeral fraud operation, flesh peddling, really. And during the whole COVID thing, they really were very, very fraudulent, um, with all the humanitarian aid and the migrant crisis and humanitarian aid for migrants that died during that time. Um, so, there was just a lot of fraud and a lot of evil, a lot of sacrilege going on. And this Mormon Mafia cartel operation connected to Plenitude Crematorium, it was tied with Purchase Funeral Homes, which is a very, very well-known, almost a monopoly on the border for the funeral homes. And they were advertising uh, Plenitude Crematorium, uh, Raphael Arliano Crone, the owner, was advertising on both sides of the border and for dignity cremations. Yet they were giving the families urns full of pulverized construction material, or even animal bones. Yeah, so this is where all the evidence indicates that our son's remains were disposed of. So, Richard has been designated since then, um, by a lot, because of a lot of hard work and investigative work, and organizing it, documenting it, filing it, um, over and over and over again. In April of 2024, he was designated deceased, and then another board of inquiry looked at the more evidence, and on January 24th, 2025, Richard was redesignated, which is really unheard of. Redesignated because the evidence is just so overwhelming. Um, Killed in the line of duty, and then this is all the information on Fort Bliss, and then President Trump writing not one but two letters confirming that Richard died with courage and in the duty of national security, for his whistleblowing, indelible respect. His name is indelible and should be respected by the entire nation. So this is really um, important for everyone to understand the level of evidence that we have that will move our government um, to confirm what the evidence reveals. So this is why we keep going. We want our son's remains because we know what the evidence is showing us, and we want accountability. But we have Conal Whetten. We have identified Conal Whetten as the leaker of our son's identity to the Mormon Mafia, um, working in alliance with the transnational terroristic organizations to take our son's life and traffic his body. Um, and evidence indicates organ harvesting because they were involved in organ harvesting and also targeting women uh, for their babies with illegal C-sections, selling the babies on black market through La Diabla. That is well documented, that case. Um, so these are many legal cases, and of course, this Mormon Mafia doesn't stop at those horrendous crimes. They are also trafficking, with weapons and ammunition, and MREs, MREs, y'all, MREs. Anything that is not bolted down. And you think MREs, oh, yeah, well, they stole. So, no, no, no. This is 200 pallets, $1.2 million worth. This is not small stakes. This is a very large operation because these pallets are huge, and it takes organized crime to load those up onto trucks and to take them to a warehouse. You have to think about what 200 pallets of MREs look like, and what is necessary to conceal them, what kind of warehouse you need. This is major organized crime, and to sell them like on eBay or something like that, or through black market operations, um, and who knows what countries, that this is going to support. And so the weapons being by the truckload being trafficked with the ammunition, with even vehicles. And now we have Conal Whetten even confessing to Operation Air Kings, using private planes that are connected to the Hauchicol oil thieves. Um, Hauchicol is the Mexican term for fuel theft. So the Hauchicol fuel theft of Alejandra de la Vega Foster and her husband Paul Foster, which is not me saying that, that's documented, and court cases, and FinCEN, the financial um, uh, investigative arm, is looking into how they used CJNG and Sinaloa cartel to steal fuel. And of course, Richard's car being connected to the soldier, they trapped Richard. I would say that I wouldn't say trapped. What can I say? They put a carrot out there for Richard to, yeah, trap him, of a cheap vehicle, and this vehicle is connected to the fuel distributor, and we know now that the uh, the whole VIN and all of that with the vehicle is leads to, well, A&R Chavira auto, which is documented in court cases as being a cartel operation and stealing, cars and false VIN numbers and all kinds of stuff like that. Yeah, so the fuel distribution, the Hauchicol fuel theft, uh, all recorded, the trafficking on Fort Bliss, and it being connected to the same group, the mafia, the the Mormon Mafia, tied with the El Paso cartel, um, being involved in the Walmart mass shooting, um, out of desperation to divert the investigations that Richard's whistleblowing reports that were absolutely devastating to them had triggered. The audits that the reports had triggered, and but it had also another purpose, the Walmart mass shooting, which was very bloody. It had a few purposes, and one of them was to frame a false narrative to attack President Trump, to sabotage the 2020 election against him, and to lift up and um, get uh, contributions for the Beto O'Rourke um, campaign. Beto O'Rourke still didn't do well. He did get a lift from the Walmart mass shooting, but he didn't do well. He's just people can see through him. They know what he is, and also part of the Mormon Mafia, um, and the El Paso cartel conglomerate with the CJNG and the Sinaloa, very clear, with the protection of Conal Whetten, with the protection of purchase uh, that's tied to the Plenitude Crematorium, which is tied to, of course, the owners, Rafael Ariano Caron, his mother, Rosa Maria Purchase Ariano Caron. Um, and what's interesting about Raphael is he shares a business address with El Paso Matters. Bob Moore, who targeted, of course, our son, is connected to the A&R Chavira Auto Group, and uh, to target Richard while he was living and then to target him after they took his life. And to share office space with Rafael Ariano Caron is just also exposes this Mormon mafia um, tied to the El Paso cartels. And they really are tied to also the intelligence, the FBI and the CIA and all the agencies. This is well documented. That's why they're called the Mormon Mafia. I didn't call them that. That was called by a group of 300 Hispanic FBI agents that were sidelined um, because they weren't part of the Mormon Mafia, and their careers within the FBI were being passed over for favoring members of the Mormon Mafia. So, and they won the case. They won the case. It's a very interesting case to read. And it's all tied to Hauchicol. It's all tied to using our government, infiltrating into our government to be up to no good for unauthorized illegal operations. And that is going back to now. I'm reading that they were involved with the Howard Hughes and um, with the whole Cuban crisis and with, um, you know, over and over and over again, all of these crises in the United States. And I can tell you that from our investigation with the Walmart mass shooting, that they were absolutely orchestrating that one. And of course, our son, they absolutely orchestrated that one. And to have Conal Whetten, he exposes it all, right? He exposes it all, because he is, and his wife is, very big in the Mormon ward, with their stake. That's what they call it, the ward and the stake and the cell. I mean, it's like a prison, right? If it's a prison, it could be a cult. Okay, it could be a cult. You use that kind of language, a cell and a ward and a stake. It's like that's a prison. Um, which to me, my dad always explained a cult to me is a group that won't let you leave, that won't let you leave. He said, if you try to leave and they don't let you leave, it's a cult. Okay. If you don't have the freedom to leave. So, I guess, members of the Mormon Mafia have to decide for themselves if it is a prison, right? If it's a prison. The terminology is very prison-like, that's for sure. And their activities are absolutely criminal, absolutely criminal. And Conal Whetten is, looking right at treason for what he has done. And I have breaking news every day. I have breaking news. We have confirmation that um, he has been officially reported to the FGR, the Fiscalia, the Federal Fiscalia, which is like the FBI, Department of Justice of Mexico, for his criminal activities that he confessed to, leading Operation Air Kings, right? Which was the illegal planning planning with cartels, right? They're looking into the um the treasonous treaty. Well, it's not a treasonous treaty like what Maru Campos made with uh, Texas Governor Abbott. I guess it's more of an illegal pact with the cartels to kidnap uh, w- in a deadly operation, El Mayo Zapata, okay? The founder, Sinaloa cartel leader, El Mayo Zapata. And he's very, very guarded. So they must have had an illegal pact with the Sinaloa cartel to get close to him. And we know that with El Chapo's son, who was captured, kidnapped at the same time as El Mayo, that this was a trap, but it was deadly. The murder happened, okay? Hector Quinn, a Mexican politician, was murdered during this. I believe there might have been more because how can El Mayo, the founder of the Sinaloa cartel, a total international cartel now worth billions and billions of dollars, um, you know, uh, be easily kidnapped, um, uh, with a single plane, no, I think there were, you know, uh, this was absolutely had a military operation. And we know that Maru Campos had on her secret paycheck CIA agents that were former Marines, even Marine officers. Remember, we have Captain Black, right? Captain Black. That was a former Marine. And we know that David Frost, who was senior NCO there in the 1AD, under Sean Bernabe in the headquarters division, was in the Fiscalia also with Carlos Manuel Salas, with his partner Todd Petkus. The strange thing about that is that they were also the lead FBI agents for the Walmart mass shooting. But he was living on Fort Bliss and was getting paid as a active duty NCO. NCO, can you believe it? In the headquarters of 180 under Sean Bernabe. Um, yeah, that is like so shocking. But at the same time, what's very important is that he was in the Fiscalia there in Juarez, Mexico, under Carlos Manuel Salas, who was the prosecutor for the North Zone of Chihuahua, Mexico. And why is this important? Because he is the one, him and Todd Petkus, delivered the message to Carlos Manuel Salas to absolutely bury Richard's case, meaning don't reveal his remains in Mexico. Okay, don't look for his remains. Don't reveal where they at. You've got to protect the secret. Um, and so that is revealing that they are engaged in unauthorized illegal obstruction of justice and operations, which is the pattern for Maru Campos, the governor of Chihuahua, who led the unauthorized operation just recently that ended up in two CIA agents that were unauthorized to be part of that operation. There were two other CIA agents in it, but the two are important because they were killed in the ambush, right? That their vehicle went down into a ravine, and it was very, very fiery. Um, and this is a vehicle that's not like anything that we drive, right? This is all enforced, reinforced, and meant to, bulletproof and everything. But yeah, this was an ambush, and it was terrible scene. And this revealed the secret payroll um, of American DEA. And she got on TV and confessed to this, just like Conal Whetten confessed in leading the Operation Air Kings. She confessed to uh, leading many operations with DEA and ATF and FBI and CIA, CBP. So that's Homeland Security. So these are rogue agents, American agents that are being paid by American taxpayers that have violated their oaths of their positions, right? And we want to know who they are. We want to know who they are. This is very sensitive, right? It's very, very sensitive, and I would suspect that David Frost and Todd Petkus were part of that rogue team of agents on the secret payroll for Chihuahua, Mexico. And the other very concerning truth to this is that they were carrying M4s, okay, fully automatic M4 rifles. Those are the military grade rifles that you would find on Fort Bliss for our soldiers. They are not readily available for sale. This is a military grade weapon, and that's what they were using. So that also confirms that there was unauthorized use of military grade weapons, or that they were um, trafficking those weapons. They were smuggling those weapons and the ammunition and everything, and also all the equipment, uniform equipment, and we know that they were doing that too, because they were caught, like I think it was about a year ago, smuggling a whole um, storage unit, a tactical move storage unit that was sent full of all kinds of uniforms and equipment and everything to California to be shipped to North Korea. That's not anything that I made up. That's all documented in cases, right? In criminal cases. So this is has a common denominator. I've been saying it for years. It's not something I tried to pick on anybody for, but now it's a warning. It's a warning for anyone that belongs to the Mormon Mafia, that they are absolutely leading a Mormon Mafia, and it is in alliance with organized crime, organized transnational terroristic organizations that are bloodthirsty and have a lot of blood on their hands. The CJNG requires you to eat human flesh. It's just it's all documented. CJNG Law Diablo, what she was doing, targeting women. And then, of course, Sinaloa, the damage that they have done to the world, So this is national security. This is international security at stake here, right? And they there always seems to be this common denominator, funeral home operators, death operators, and Mormon Mafia. And so this gets to Conal Whetten again, being an assistant special agent in charge in the El Paso FBI office, field office, that he was also supervisory for cybersecurity. So of course, Michael G. Maiella Jr., the Maiella Crucius connection with the Walmart mass shooting, and the alleged Walmart mass shooter. Michael Maiella's working in the FBI office, along with working for cybersecurity for Walmart, along with working um, alongside Jaime Esparza and Bill Hicks um, and Montoya for the DA's office, all of, um, you know, with the father, Michael F. Maiella, being the federal courthouse manager under the very judges that were part of this whole Walmart mass shooting, um, and the victims funds, the Walmart victims funds, over $12 million collected because people were so heartbroken with what happened. Of course, they're going to donate. Of course, they are. And there was fraud when it came to the distribution of those donated victims funds. That's also a case. So, um, thank you. In the name of Jesus, amen. And that's very important. Thank you for bringing that up, because the Mormon Mafia do not believe in the Trinity, okay? Do not believe in the Trinity. Do not believe in the Apostles' Creed. Do not believe in the Nicene Creed. Do not believe in the Athanasius Creed, that are all very foundational to the Christian faith. And yet, um, uh, they were just taken off of the list by Pete Hegseth, the Department of War secretary, as considered as Christians, because they're not Christian. Christian. Not that you want to pick on them or whatever, but if they don't believe in the foundational creeds, the Trinity, then they're not Christians. And yet they are starting Christian churches to deceive people. They are, I know one that they got an old church and they painted it black and everything inside. Used the altar for a snack area, you know. And I'm not talking about the Lord's Supper. I'm not talking about a sacrament. I'm talking about, oh, let's just put some cookies and milk and coffee and everything right there on the altar. Um, so the disrespect for the attack, absolutely, this Mormon Mafia is they're imposters, impersonating what they are not. And this has been revealed in our investigation because they would say, "Oh, we're Christian," and then you look deeper, and they're members of the Mormon ward in the area, right? They're members in the Mormon stake. They're a cell, right? They're part of the prison, the Mormon prison. Um, and for longest I was saying Mormon faction, but now with the new data coming out and the level of infiltration, I just have to say Mormon Mafia. It is just huge. It's huge, and there's no doubt, and it's all documented in cases after cases after cases. Um, uh, you know, and there needs to be a warning because they are absolutely always trying to evangelize or whatever, get people to join their ward to become a cell, join the ward and be part of a stake and be part of the prison, which is a Mormon mafia. And it makes sense when you see the grooming that goes on. There is so much grooming, and today we saw it very clear in uh, the Kirk case. You saw twigs, right? Um, and I even put up a picture of twigs. See if I can get to it. Lance Twigs. Lance Twigs comes from, here he is. Meet Lance Twigs. Here he is. He comes from a very, let's just say, millions of dollars, Mormon Mafia family. Okay. And I say that not lightly, you know, uh, as an identifier, right? Because this is absolutely devastating to see the grooming going on with our young people. And grooming is a very real thing. Um, and we, you know, as Christians, we bring up our children in the admonition of the Lord, and we teach them right and wrong, um, and we have to form them, right? We have to, uh, that's why we have schools. That's why we have all of the clubs and everything that we have. And the Mormon Mafia, of course, does the same. And but they're up to no good because of the confusion that they're sowing, and it creates a lot of hostility. A lot of hostility. The confusion, when you're confused, that with your pet or whatever, when you want to confuse and uh, uh, tease your pets, they get hostile, right? They start to growl, they start to claw back. And now we have this this couple of young men that had really, I mean, they're both beautiful, you know, if they were not groomed to be up to no good, if they were, you know, um, it's just so sad, you know, because Richard was such a hero. And these two want to destroy life, you know. They want to be part of a political destruction. Um, and it's just uh, it's heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking. Um, and of course, Richard stood up too. He was standing up for the children, right? Uh, Putting in complaints about CPS about what they were doing to the children. I don't even know what they've done to these two children, these two young men. There's so much, I can tell you right now, there's so much incest, so much, and I'm not saying they were victims of that. I'm just saying that, you know, with Leilani Hart's affidavit confessing that her family was engaged in incest and the worst type of crimes against children, and her facilitating the worst type of crimes against children, and filming it and everything like that. You just and over and over and over again during this whole investigation of just tragedy after tragedy after tragedy within this Mormon mafia, you would think that there would be, and I think that that's what's going on right now. It's being exposed, and people are going, aha, this is something wrong. This is something very, very wrong. It's causing a lot of pain and a lot of bloodshed and a lot of bloodthirstiness, right? A lot of criminal activity, including Hauchicol, right? Including Hauchicol and in doing the fuel theft and all of the other trafficking, there's so much violence because you have to steal at gunpoint, siphon. If someone sees you, you have to retaliate against the witness. Then you need a plenitude crematorium, not narco crematorium where the narcos can go and drop off the dead bodies. This is how violent and how inhumane this all gets. And it starts with the grooming um, of confusion in in our children. And and Richard was reporting what was going on. And we know that they were compromising our soldiers, and I would even say grooming them, right, into the criminality, into the sex cult, into the drug cult, into the alcohol cult. And I'm an Anglican. We have no problems. The Mormons don't say don't drink alcohol. Um, President Trump doesn't drink alcohol. Um, I think when you're in a battle like we've been in for 6 years, you don't drink it because you have to be vigilant. You can't just relax. But I don't never have. Plus I'm German, a good beer, a good wine, a good scholle, you know, um, a good schnapps, whatever. Uh, but there's just something very, very wrong with how they were grooming our soldiers um, when they were supposed to, there's a long list of regulations of what was supposed to be going on in those barracks. And every last one of them, I think every last one of them was violated. And when and you have the violations by the very commanders, the very director of emergency services, the very CID, the very MPs, that are supposed to be um, uh, following their oaths, right? And their regulations, and they're just violating them. And when you start peeling the onion, when you get down to it, it is this Mormon mafia that is even bringing in the cartels, right? That's making it possible for the cartels to infiltrate into the military. It's a Mormon mafia that is opening the door for them, okay, and providing the access to them. And that's why this has been uh, something that we can't hold back with. This is a real, real problem, and we have to face it. And something needs to be done. And it's been going on for decades, decades. Um, there is a disloyalty and a treachery with this Mormon mafia that is a direct threat to our national um, security and future, right? And future, and also to Mexico. I think that, um, well, because of the Chihuahuan colonies and the growth of this Mormon mafia, and in alliance with the Mexican cartels to do this Hauchicol, and then the Hauchicol to compromise those so they wouldn't talk. And that includes the children, then that includes the drugs, that includes the flesh eating, that includes everything. And then it just spirals downward into the darkest void where there's gnashing of teeth and crying out. And it's just a terrible situation. And I think it's a prison. It's a prison. I would even say it's a cult. I would even say it's a cult because you can't leave unless you want to find your body there at Plenitude Crematorium, stacked up, rat infested, being flesh peddled to wherever, and probably, rip the skin off the back to sell it or whatever. I don't know. It's just the most horrible, because there was torture evidence and those in uniform. So if you're Fiscalia or your state police or whatever, and you want to do the right thing, um, you were up against a very evil, demonic Mormon mafia. Um, so yeah, it's and then they build these, like the Jetsons, these ivory tower houses. But look at this. He could be just this handsome guy, and he's not. He's just been totally, um, he's considered the whistleblower. I just, we need to really pray is to do is to pray. So here we are, doing and praying and praying and doing. Um, and, so we have uh, the breaking news, like I said, that Conal Whetten, here's Conal Whetten, and he's also, from the Chihuahuan colonies, and being an assistant special agent in charge there in El Paso, in the FBI field office, and absolutely so connected to all the things that have gone wrong and leaking whistleblowers' identity. Um, he is the Mormon Mafia. He is uh, the El Paso cartel. He's the double agent, triple agent, whatever. He's absolutely treacherous, and so it is very good news that he has been reported now and is is being investigated for his illegal pacts that he made, um, and you know we are not disputing that El Mayo is a terroristic organization, head of a terroristic organization. We're not disputing that he's a criminal. We're just saying that you cannot. There was bad intentions when you do a kidnapping instead of, especially when you're an assistant special agent in charge in the FBI, you know better. You know you need an extradition order. You know you need judges involved. You know you need international diplomacy and relations involved and okay. And you need to let Mexico City know what you're doing and respect their sovereignty. You know that as a special agent in charge in an FBI field office on the border. You know that. There's no excuse, but he ran this illegal operation with well, it seems like multiple planes because it's called Operation Air Kings, using King Air planes. And there's so much discrepancies with the planes, and when you follow them back, they lead to Alejandra de la Vega Foster, right, and her husband Paul Foster, who are Hauchicol fuel thieves, and worse, double agents, treacherous. So and of course, in alliance with, and this is confirmed, that they are in alliance with the CJNG and the Sinaloa cartel, the Chapito uh, uh, arm of the Sinaloa cartel with Maru Campos. That's all documented. That's not something I'm making up. That's all documented. And, and facilitated the illegal treasonous treaty between Maru Campos and Governor Greg Abbott. And we know that Greg Abbott was taking money, uh, that she did a fundraiser for him in her home with the CJNG leadership. Um, so that's all documented. And so for Conal Whetten to be in alliance with all of this when he's supposed to be a top law enforcer, and protecting convicted criminal Leilani Hart, because Leilani Hart is part of his ward, is part of his stake, is a cell in this Mormon Mafia. Um, you know, uh, it, it goes back to the case with the 300 Hispanic agents that called out Mormon Mafia, right? And they won. So every one of them would understand what we're saying here. Every one of them would understand exactly where we're coming from, because Leilani Hart should be arrested. And what they did to Richard was absolutely an act of war, was absolutely treason. And what they did with El Mayo was absolutely violate Mexican sovereignty. Absolutely, was damaging to the U.S. and Mexican diplomacy and relationships. It's just such a security violation, a international relations violation. Um, so he really does need to be held accountable, and those that covered up for him, right? Like Jaime Esparza as the AUSA, like Steven Spitzer and the AUSA, and beyond, right? Because this was a federal crime. That's why I'm focusing on the federal oversight with it. Um, it's very clear. He confessed to it. She confessed to the worst type of crimes. Leilani Hart, Conal Whetten confessed to the worst type of crimes. He confessed to treason. He confessed to murder. That's what he confessed to. When he was, showing off the evidence to tamper with the evidence during an active case, you know? So yeah, it is, they're still trying to pull a fast one. They're trying to manipulate and use their Mormon Mafia resources and connections to get them out of this exposure, right? Because that's what they hate is the exposure. Um, and that's what they hated about Richard is he exposed them, right? Because that's the end of their illegal operations when they're so exposed. And that's really the bottom line, how they can access and do so much damage. Bloodthirsty, bloodthirsty with blood all over their hands. So much damage. Don't forget, 500,000 children were trafficked across that border. So, okay, let me look at comments. Thank you so much. Yes, it is a cult. Thank you so much. And we look at where we've come from because for the longest time we gave them a chance. This is a Mormon faction. It's a Mormon faction. And the leadership of the Mormon Mafia is just hunkering down on their criminality. They're not responding the way uh, somebody that wants justice, that wants to be American, um, would respond, right? So, yeah, it is, I can really tell you from our evidence, Laura, that you are right, that you are right. It is just horrible what the evidence that we've had to go through. It is, and you're never the same. You're never the same. So, yeah, it is really bad. So, but we have very good news because this lady here from the Fiscalia, she is tough. She's tough. She is so tough. Look at her. She is tough and she means business. And we got word that she is tough and she does mean business. And so does the Fiscalia investigator from Maru Campos. He is very tough. And that's not over with. There is a tit for tat here and there, but um, the exposure is just too much. It's just too much. They're absolutely um, uh, accountability's coming. And so I just want to give everybody that good news that do not quit. Keep sharing these posts, keep talking about this, keep sharing. If you have information, please file those complaints. If you have standing in a case, please file them because that is what moves and shakes things. And I can tell you right now that there has been a complaint against Conal, um, corroborating all the other evidence. Um, and so the FGR is absolutely on it. They are on it. And that's very, very good news. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for coming on so late. And I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Please share, and share.